Welcome, students. Bienvenue à l'Université d'Ottawa. Thank you for joining us. My apologies for a little bit of the distraction as we got started. This is our second session of the day, and it's been a long day for most of us, so I apologize if we're not quite on top of everything. But we're really happy to meet you and welcome you to the University of Ottawa. And to kick things off, I'm going to pass the mic over to our Dean, Jacques Bouvet.
Thank you, Liam. I'm extremely happy to welcome all of you to the Faculty of Engineering today. We've been preparing for your arrival for quite some time now. Thank you for choosing our university and our faculty to pursue your graduate studies and to pursue your dreams. I'm always impressed by the passion and dedication of our new students like you for making a real difference in the world today by choosing to study engineering and computer science. Right now, society is in great need of the professionals that you will become with strong knowledge, imagination, ethics, understanding of risks to help us move forward and seize the opportunities that we're now facing in the form of several really big global challenges and the post-COVID recovery. La crise COVID a certainement mis en lumière notre fragilité et notre vulnérabilité comme société. Avec cette prise de conscience concernant les enjeux majeurs devant nous, incluant la relance post-COVID et les enjeux de longue date tels que le réchauffement de la planète, le rôle des ingénieurs et des informaticiens est devenu d'autant plus important pour contribuer à des pistes de solutions. Mais il ne s'agit pas que de défis, mais aussi des opportunités sans précédent que vous pourrez saisir durant vos études et une fois que vous serez sur le marché du travail. One of our alumni, Sethuraman Panchanathan, who's now the director of the National Science Foundation in the US, which is the largest research funding agency in North America, said, "The simple truth is that your first steps on a college campus are merely the first steps toward a lifetime of learning and are essential ingredients to remaining engaged and thriving throughout the course of a career and lifetime." Now, these are not your first steps on a campus, of course, but these are your first steps in your new graduate program, which is definitely a new dimension of your lifetime of learning. With this perspective, and in spite of the challenges that we face this year in particular, we have a lot to offer you in terms of support and state-of-the-art facilities so that you can develop exciting new ideas and new technology here with us and to be a partner to you as you progress through your career afterwards. Our faculty community, the professors, the part-time professors, the teaching assistants, and the staff are here to do everything they can to support you during your apprenticeship of the skills and knowledge you will need before heading back out in your roles as engineers and computer scientists. Our goal is your success. And everyone has been working very hard over the summer to prepare their online courses to deliver the best possible curriculum this fall. The Faculty of Engineering has also been growing quite a lot over the last 2 years to better support your inspiring projects and activities. We've moved into our new STEM complex, which has fabulous tools for design and for turning ideas into concepts and prototypes. This is a true 21st century workshop with opportunities for proving that your ideas really work and for launching new ventures if you have entrepreneurship ambitions. All of our new facilities will be invaluable to you for your projects and your ideas, and we will open them as soon as the guidelines from the public health authorities allow us to do so safely. In the course of your studies, some of you will perhaps take your first steps towards launching your own enterprise. Perhaps you already have a startup concept and you will gain additional tools to further your goals during your studies with us. We have all kinds of ways to support you in this exciting adventure, including design and concept competitions led by SEED, as well as what you'll learn about all of the activities within the STEM complex. I'll let Professor Hanan Anis tell you more in a few moments about the STEM facilities and activities which constitute the core of the STEM complex. Our National Capital Region of Canada is actually a rich community of makers. And through our faculty, you can join this community as we are the maker hub of the Ottawa region. And you can have a real impact, just as we did over the spring and summer this year, when our teams in our makerspace, working with regional hospitals and other partners, produced 10,000 face shields for frontline health workers. Nous avons maintenant des laboratoires formidables dans le nouveau complexe STEM, un véritable atelier du 21e siècle pour vous permettre de transformer vos idées et concepts en réalité et prototypes. Ces laboratoires seront irremplaçables pour vos projets durant vos études et nous les rendrons pleinement accessibles dès que les consignes de la santé publique nous le permettront. Je vais laisser le soin à la professeure Hanan Anis dans quelques instants de vous parler un peu plus de nos installations et de nos activités et opportunités que nous offrons pour vous soutenir dans vos projets. Although we don't know exactly when this will be possible, more and more of you will be able to join us here in Ottawa as time goes by. This is a very exciting city for engineering and computer science. Ottawa is the fastest rising city in North America in terms of tech talent, and it now has the highest concentration of tech workers in North America. We've established many ties with industry here in Ottawa and across the country, as well as internationally, through our top researchers and many other partnership activities. And we always strive to leverage these partnerships with our students to help you build and develop your own networks. Même si nous ne connaissons pas encore comment les consignes de santé publique évolueront, au fil du temps, de plus en plus d'entre vous allez venir nous rejoindre ici à Ottawa. C'est une ville idéale pour l'ingénierie et l'informatique. Ottawa est la ville qui croît le plus rapidement en Amérique du Nord en termes de talent dans les technologies et nous avons la plus forte concentration de travailleurs dans ce secteur en Amérique du Nord. Nos partenariats avec l'industrie en témoignent et nous vous aiderons à en tirer parti pour développer vos propres réseaux. And I have one additional message. Having an impact, making a difference, and helping to solve those big challenges that we face as a society are very clearly not simply about engineering and computer science. Make use of the opportunity while you're at university to develop valuable relationships and networks with your colleagues in other faculties. Arts, health sciences, education, medicine, social sciences, TELFR, and of course, sciences. Challenge these colleagues and learn from them. These relationships and networks will be key to your ability to making a difference throughout your career. Profitez bien de toutes ces opportunités. Faites usage des services d'aide qui vous sont offerts. Développez vos réseaux à l'intérieur et à l'extérieur de la faculté. Et je suis convaincu que vous aurez un impact majeur, non seulement au cours de vos carrières, mais dès maintenant à l'université. There are many opportunities in front of you, many important challenges that need to be quickly addressed. And there's little doubt that you will have an unprecedented impact over the course of your careers in engineering, in computer science, and in whatever other field you choose to invest yourselves in. So thank you again. Good luck in the semester. Have a good year. And I'll hand it back over to you, Liam.
Thanks a lot, Jacques. Many people were joining while you were speaking. So for everyone that wasn't here at the beginning, that was the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, Jacques Beauvais, welcoming all of you to the University of Ottawa and expressing his confidence at how well you're going to do here and how you're going to profit from your time at the University of Ottawa. I know many of you have joined because you've got questions you want answered about questions, your program's registration. You may see that there's a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Type your questions in there and they will be answered. If not during this session, we'll put an FAQ out that provides you the answers. You can also raise your hand to ask questions. But before we dig into your questions, we're really trying to impress upon you that University of Ottawa is so much more than the courses and programs. The courses and programs are great, but we've got a fantastic institution where you're going to make connections that are going to last the rest of your life and have you succeed in your career. So on that note, I want to introduce Professor Hanan Ani, who runs the Center for Entrepreneurship and Engineering Design, who's going to speak to you a little bit about all the facilities and opportunities we have here that you can profit from in addition to your courses and programs. Over to you, Hanan.
Thank you so much, Liam. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Okay, perfect. I'll share my screen now.
Yes, that would be great. Yep, we see your screen fine.
Okay, good evening or good morning, or it depends on the time zone, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for tonight. And I want to take those few minutes to speak to you about the Center for Entrepreneurship and Engineering Design. What is that center all about? Actually, at the core of the center is our rapid prototyping facilities, and I'll discuss that a bit more. But we're sort of, at the bottom of our new STEM building. There are all kinds of facilities for you to use in the course of your program. There are a number of design and entrepreneurship courses that we administer, as well as lots of competitions and professional development, both part of the curriculum and extra curriculum programs. So what are those prototyping facilities about? You know, you can divide them into two big areas. One is digital technologies like 3D printing, laser cutting, and so on. And the other is traditional machine shops. So you might sort of say, oh, that sounds good, but I don't know anything about digital technologies. That's okay. We actually run workshops. Typically, we run 4 workshops per week where you can learn all about these technologies. And once you learn, you can walk into these spaces and use the facilities free of charge. And in fact, there are lots of other students that can help you to do whatever you want. So that's in terms of our digital facilities like the Maker Lab and the Maker Space. In the machine shop, it's similar between lathe, mill, CNC router, welding, you name it. You can use these facilities for whether it's a school project or extracurricular activities. And speaking about the extracurricular activities, we have a number of team spaces where our students actually work in teams to compete, and I'll explain about that in a second. So here are some pictures to give you an idea. Many of you are from outside of the country, so I just want to give you a feel. Actually, the maker space, you could see 3D printers, you could see laser cutters. Actually, up to 2,000 users use these spaces. And it's open to anybody in the university, including the community at large on Sundays. Here's pictures of our Bronzefield Center, which is our machine shop. And this center is really focused on the Faculty of Engineering students because, you know, you really need to have proper knowledge to use these machines. I want to give you a bit of a feel of our team spaces. This is the John McIntyre team space. And actually we have 13 different teams working to design and build their projects. These projects go anything from a car to an aeroplane to a rocket. Here is an image right there of our rocket team winning the 4th place at the Spaceport America Cup in the United States. And you could see that they are delighted and we were extremely proud of them. So I'll share with you a couple of images of the different teams we have. You could see the Baja team, you could see the Concrete Toboggan team, you could see the UAE Racing, which won the 4th place at the Shell Eco Marathon, as well as the Formula team at the bottom right. So let me shift gears a little bit to our client-based courses. Actually, our client-based courses, as the name suggests, we work with a client and we develop prototypes for these clients. There are courses at the undergraduate levels, but let me focus on the courses on the graduate level. There is an engineering design course that is fairly new and it's design focused. And there is an entrepreneurship course that actually runs 3 times a year and has been there for quite a while, and it's an entrepreneurial focus. So any of you who's interested in engineering design or entrepreneurship, please register to either of these courses. You might sort of say, how am I going to, I'm on the other side of the world, and how am I going to do engineering design or entrepreneurship? Actually, we chose a lot of the projects to be, it's possible to do it virtually. Like, for example, VR for construction. So that would be an example. You can do it from where you are, but the application is in civil engineering. So moving on, just to give you a glimpse of how we usually, the finale of the design or the entrepreneurship is usually with design day, and students showcase their projects. You might sort of say, well, we're online, we can't do that. Actually, this summer we were doing it virtually. So you will have a design day, irrespective of whether you can travel or not. And if it is remote, it is remote, and we will be face-to-face, hopefully, during the winter session. This is some of our design projects, just to give you a feel. They vary quite a bit, from zero carbon footprint shed to foot-operated TV remote control. And here is actually a picture of the client who, his name was George, still his name is George. And the students, actually, these were a few second-year engineering students that built a foot-operated remote control for George, who actually can't move his arms. So just another example of projects that we have done. This is working together with art students and developing interactive arts. How is this interactive art? If you could see that art installation up there, when people go up and down the stairs, actually the lights change, and they change depending on the sensors and depending on the number of people on the stairs. So this is an example of the graduate course, and this is an entrepreneurship course. And the students here, the folks on the left-hand side were developing testing for drones. The folks on the right had a social enterprise that's building prostheses for war-torn areas, specifically children. So I just wanted to give you these examples to tell you that we have a very vibrant ecosystem at the University of Ottawa. The ecosystem, particularly the Center for Entrepreneurship and Engineering Design, focuses on two aspects, which is entrepreneurship and engineering design, from education, courses, and hands-on learning, all the way to an accelerator. So with that, I just want to give you a flavor of our Maker Launch. This is a 9-month accelerator program. You actually start from, you know, getting a bit of funding, co-working space, a network, mentors, and those mentors, they coach you along the way over the 9 months. So actually, when you finish the program, you're ready for actually investment or to be able to stand on your own 2 feet. So, you know, the idea over this is really, it is more than the courses, it's more than the program, it's a very vibrant ecosystem that I would encourage you to participate in. So speaking about participating in, a couple of things I want to tell you. If you're interested in entrepreneurial idea competition, please join us for September 24th. That's our idea competition from 12 to 1. The other thing that is really important, particularly for international students, our info session for international students is September 11th from 10 to 11:30. There are lots of workshops that would be very interesting for you. And particularly, you know, we'll kick it off with a student panel that would tell you, you know, these were students who were exactly in your shoes, and what did they do right? What did they do wrong? What are the lessons learned? So, you know, if you can join us, please do. With that, I just want to actually spend a second, because I'm sort of aware that you didn't get a feel of the STEM building that we speak about. So I just want to play this video clip. Maybe it will give you a better feel of the facilities that we have.
Professor Inez,
Yes.
you might need to hit the share screen button again and then select where your video is.
You can't see?
No, we can't see it.
Oh, okay. I will actually.
You just need to select where the video is. When you go to share screen, there's like multiple screens. You can select
Okay.
the one.
Hold on.
I recommend your desktop share rather than just the presentation.
Okay, hold on. I will do that, exactly that. I tried it actually before the meeting, so it might be just a share. And
If you need to share your audio, remember that too if it pops up.
let's see if I can share it. If I can, that's okay. Nothing. Okay, can you see that now?
Yes, we can see the browser.
Oh,
We see the video.
okay. So I'll just hit it again. Okay. Can you see it?
We can see it.
Okay.
Yes, but we can't hear it. But it's got captions.
Okay, you know what? I will just share the link
Yeah,
on the,
leave your screen the way it is because we can see the link up there.
okay. Okay, sounds good.
Just Google U Ottawa Seed. The video's right first thing on the page you see, and you can just click that button on your own time.
I also shared it in the chat if anybody wants to take a look at that.
Perfect. That's great.
Okay. I'm happy to answer any questions before we move on.
If anyone has a question for Professor Anis, just raise your hand, and Philippe will turn your mic on. So it looks like we have a shy crowd.
No questions at this time, it seems.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so I know most of you have questions that you want answered. So I'm about to hand over the presentation to Stéphane Drouin, and he and I will quickly go through the slides. They're the slides that got sent out to you. And we'll just touch on each slide briefly, see if it triggers any questions from you. If you have a question, either type it in the Q&A window. We have several people helping us monitor it, or raise your hand. So Stéphane Drouin is the head of the graduate office. So I'm gonna pass it over to you, Stéphane.
Hi, everybody. So happy to have you guys attend this event. Just bear with me as I open up my shared screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen. It's just not presenting yet.
Okay.
Like we can see your PowerPoint, but it's in PowerPoint mode as opposed to present mode.
Oh, here I am. Okay.
Oh, there you are. I can see you.
So are we good?
Yes, we're good. Looks good.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Again, so our Vice Dean, Professor Payton, who was just speaking to you. I'm the academic administrator for the graduate office. So myself and Professor Payton, with an amazing team, we get to help and assist you through your academic career here at the University of Ottawa, from the time you applied to the time you graduate, whether that be close or far away, depending on master's, PhD, and whatnot. We've got a mini PPT to show, but we will be pausing frequently to answer questions. So do not hesitate, as we've already said. You know, you can raise your hand in the Zoom app, and one of my colleagues, Philippe, will definitely be you know, jumping in once in a while to let us know there's a question to answer. Also know that in the Q&A, you can definitely be using that app. And I've got 4 other great colleagues who are looking at your questions. They either will be answering you directly on some cases, or grabbing the information, bringing it to our attention so that we can raise it to all to learn and to understand. And I'll also be introducing them to you when I get to that slide. What I'll do is I'll hand it off right here to Professor Payton, who likes to discuss this slide.
Sure. So when you received the invitation to this meeting, you received a copy of these slides and you received an FAQ document. Please read the questions and answers in the FAQ document. It contains lots of useful information. We're also going to take all the questions that are typed into the Q&A section and add them to another Q&A document as well. Just a couple of things to highlight. All students, I'm going to start in the top right corner. All students need to have submitted your application for a student permit. It doesn't matter if you're still in your home country. It doesn't matter if you're taking courses online. You need to submit your study permit. It does not have to be complete. Many of you will not be able to get all the biometric information and stuff that is required. Just fill in what you can and hit submit. The main thing is you submit your application. It says before September 8th, but in fact, the deadline is September 15th. The main thing is do it now if you haven't already applied for your study permit. The other thing is for non-thesis students, so not PhD students, not Masters of Science or Masters of Applied Science, for students who are pursuing what we call a professional program degree that does not involve a thesis, it's course-based or project-based. Because of COVID, we want you to understand that Faculty of Engineering recommends for you that you take 6 units a session, which is typically 2 courses. This is the best thing for you to succeed at your degree and leave lots of time for all the other activities you get involved in, some of which Professor Anis was talking about. But it's also important to maintain your eligibility for a post-graduation work permit. To make it more economical for you to be able to do that, if you are registered to exactly 6 units, by the time the ad deadline ends, and Stefan will be talking about that, the university will do a pass through all the student accounts. And if you're a non-thesis student in the Faculty of Engineering registered to exactly 6 units, you'll receive a $3,000 bursary, which will be an automatic credit to your account to reduce the amount you owe. And this is because for a post-graduation work permit, which is usually for 3 years when you complete a degree at the Faculty of Engineering, to qualify for that, eventually you must complete at least 50% of your program in Canada. So we all expect you to travel here soon. But if this is your first semester and you don't have a confirmed study permit, an introduction letter dated before March 18th, the Canadian border is still not open. As soon as it's open, we'll let you know so you can come to campus and be here. But until that happens, you won't be able to travel to Canada. So, next slide.
Liam, before I move, when you're seeing my PPT, is it full screen or partial?
No, it's perfect for me.
Okay, thank you.
I might as well continue going on this one, Stefan.
I was pausing for you.
Yeah. The most important thing, this would be true in any situation, but with COVID and many of you still being in your home country, this is critical. You need to be connected. Don't think of yourself working on your own. You must be in constant communication. If you're a thesis student, your most important relationship is with your supervisor. Please don't leave it to your supervisor to contact you. Contact your supervisor and establish a regular communication with your supervisor. I recommend once a week, but each supervisor is different. Work out your relationship with your supervisor, because looking after that relationship and staying in contact with your supervisor is critical. Professional program students, or what I've been calling non-thesis students, you don't have a supervisor. And it's really important for you to have a sense of community and to get guidance on things that are happening. There's 2 links there. Please, if you're one of these students, right now, join the Professional Development Club on both the LinkedIn group and the Facebook group. The Professional Development Club executive have student representatives that I'm in constant communication with. By joining the club, they will often be able to answer many of your questions and share their experiences. More importantly, if you have issues where you need an advocate or sensitive questions, might not even be due to your academics, it could be health issues, it could be personal issues, they can help mentor you. And if they need to, they have my cell phone number and they can get a hold of me directly to advocate on your behalf. So please be connected, either with your supervisor if you're a thesis student who can advocate on your behalf, or with the Professional Development Club that can advocate on your behalf. Over to you, Stefan.
All right, Phil, do you have a few questions for us to start with?
No questions yet.
Okay, no problem.
So
Well, I'm sure they'll come.
let's pause awkwardly for a second and encourage the students that we're here for you and we can't answer your questions if you don't ask them. So please either type in the Q&A window or raise your hand. Don't be shy. We had lots and lots of questions this morning and it made for a really good session.
It did. It did. So, I mean, obviously there are several topics to discuss with this first slide. And of course, this is also an important slide. So I will continue and Phil will pause us very shortly where we can answer a few questions. The Graduate Studies Office, I mean, there's an entire team just waiting to help and assist you. Ideally, this would be on campus and in person, but we are more than capable to assist you virtually. In fact, we've been doing so since March of this year with great success, and the students have enjoyed whether it be a virtual encounter with their academic officer or emails or all the different ways we interact. This is the most important email address in your academic career now with the University of Ottawa, engineering.grad@uottawa.ca. It is your best way to reach the grad office. It is also an email address that is constantly checked and surveyed by the team. You may want to address a question to a specific person or to the entire team. No matter what, you use this address and you enter your student number, your name, your program, your question, and it will be directed to the right person. There's constantly people going through these emails, filtering them, redirecting them. So whether it's questions about admission, enrollment, thesis, rules, regulations, and forms and whatnot, you definitely can ask us questions about these things, these steps, and what to do. For example, what is a service request? How do I do this? Where do I go? As a student, many of the administrative duties or tasks or requests you're going to have us do on your behalf will be initiated through UOZone, through your student center. Some of you have been exposed to these concepts already by being admitted and registering to courses. The further step is what we call a service request, where you may need to have an administrative task or duty done, and you initiate it through this portal. The next slide, the forms. I mean, there's a link here. A lot of this PPT you've already read or seen, so I'm going quickly through some of the slides. The idea is that you retain that you've seen the information before and you'll know where to go to find it again within the PPT. But when in doubt, of course, you can always contact us at the grad office. So there's a link here for all the various forms that we will need you to use throughout your academic career. And whether it be with regards to enrollment to classes, to seminars, proposals, and whatnot. Here's where I get to introduce the people in the background tonight, this morning and tonight. This is the entire team actually. With us, you have our Vice Dean, Professor Payton. There's myself, who you're not seeing currently, but important is Nathalie Prou, who is the manager of all the admissions sector, the people who looked at your application, your documents, and processed them and issued your offer of admission, as well as Sylvie Chénier, who's in charge of all of the matters related to enrollment, meaning from the time you accepted your offer to the time you graduate. She has a staff she oversees to make sure that your experience is as best as possible. I know she will, poke her head or answer a few questions today for sure, but Olga is with us and definitely has probably been in contact with many of you, either in a group email or one-on-one. Olga is our International Affairs Officer, and she is very knowledgeable on all things related to international work study permits, visas, and whatnot. And another person you may get to know throughout your academic career with us is José Gravelin, who oversees your student experience, who manages a team of mentors, students like you a year, 2, 3 later, who run workshops, all set up and designed for you and to enhance your experience. Again, the critical email address to reach us at. I will be posting this here and there throughout my slides to put the emphasis on it. Our academic assistant, Anne, is with us tonight in the Q&A, and she'll be seeing and reading and answering some of your questions. Hi, Lorena there. Christiana just popped up, and she's also there answering your questions in the Q&A. Miranda is also another one of our academic assistants. For you, quite importantly, will be the academic officers from this point on. We have a team of 5 plus a graduate coordinator. We have Muriel Brazo, who manages all students in biomedical, computer science, and computer science artificial intelligence. She will be the main person you will deal with throughout your academic career if you're in biomedical, computer science, or artificial intelligence. She will be your liaison, your contact, your admin support. For EMP students, engineering management or digital transformation innovation or system science students, your academic officer is Yun Won Hu. For students in civil engineering and environmental engineering is Véronique Dupuis, and Véronique is with us. She's in the chat, in the Q&A, answering your call. There you go. She's just popped up. Hi, Véronique, and thanks for being there tonight. We also have Maria Bento, who oversees all the electrical engineering students as well as the artificial intelligence students in electrical engineering. And last but not least for our academic officers is Lise Rousseau for students in mechanical, advanced material manufacturing, or chemical engineering. So whenever you need to talk to your academic officer for whatever question, these are the people you reach out to by using the engineering.grad email. You type in as a subject line your name, your program, your student number, and your questions, comments, concerns. We have the entire team here seeing your question and triaging to the right person your question. So don't you worry about that. You reach us here, you'll be guaranteed someone is seeing your email. Whereas if you're writing to individuals, some inboxes get overwhelmed sometimes and there can be delays. So to ensure you get the best response, the quickest response, I would encourage you to use this email address. Professor Payton, I saw your finger there go up.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that the engineering.grad email is tied to our Talisma system that tracks and monitors all requests. So when you use that email, you'll get an automatic reply acknowledging the request. And we use the tool to track and make sure that you get responses in a timely fashion and nothing falls through the cracks. Even if you're emailing one of the email addresses on the left, include the engineering.grad. Otherwise, I can assure you that things will fall through the cracks and take longer. So please use the engineering.grad email address.
Thank you very much. And definitely not last and definitely not least is our academic officers in charge of admissions. Many of you have dealt with these people a lot throughout the whole process and likely may not talk to them or deal with them a lot, but still they are very important and key. And thanks, Chase, for popping up there. So we have Chase connected with us. He's in the Q&A answering your questions. Cassandra and Marlene are as well academic officers who had a role to play in your admissions offer. So thank you to the staff who's here tonight, much appreciated. And do bombard them with questions in the Q&A. All right, so Phil, after this slide, feel free to cut in if you have some questions. So let's share the contacts by program, okay? So in addition to having a team of administrators, staff handling all of your administrative questions, we also have professors, graduate coordinators in charge of each of your programs, and they are listed here alphabetically. Who is in charge of, for example, chemical engineering is Professor Mirani, and your academic officer for chemical, as I had stated on my previous slide, it would be Lise Rousseau. So this slide here outlines the academic officers in charge of the programs, as well as the graduate program coordinator in charge of the academic program itself. Obviously, for those who are thesis-based students, your academic main point of contact, of course, will and should be your supervisor. You should be, as Professor Payton said, you should be in contact with them often. For those of you who are in professional programs, project programs, and you're in need of academic assistance or guidance beyond administrative, these are the people you would be contacting for such matters, in collaboration with your academic officer as well. So I would always suggest you contact your academic officer, and when it's academic in nature, definitely feel free to include your graduate coordinator according to your program.
But always include engineering.grad@uottawa.ca.
Yes, yes. When you're clicking on these names here, it will not give you their personal email. It will give you engineering.grad. And we do this for your benefit, because we definitely want you to get an answer as fast as possible. And this is a tried, tested, and true method of getting the assistance you need in a timely fashion. Phil, you popped up. What do you got for us?
Yes. No questions yet, but this slide made me think we could have a good discussion. So it's been brought up a couple times that if you're a thesis student, your thesis supervisor is your first point of contact with regards to what courses you should be taking, what research you're going to be undertaking, and when. I saw some questions coming up in the Q&A that weren't answered, but maybe a topic for discussion, which is progress. When do I do my comprehensive exam? When do I do my thesis proposal and the associated milestones? And then maybe just bring back attention to something that was already brought up, which is the Professional Development Club. Those of you that are in non-thesis programs, the role that a supervisor plays, you're going to get through the Professional Development Club. So this still refers to you in the sense of networking and how to connect with your supervisor, etc. So maybe discuss that for a moment.
Great input, Phil. Definitely, I think Liam is the person to chime in on the milestones for thesis-based students and the Professional Development Club.
So you've already got the links for the Professional Development Club, and although it's the main point of contact for non-thesis students, thesis students should also feel free to join that club. That club is open to anyone who's interested in developing their professional career, working on resumes, getting connected in industry, learning what skills are in demand, etc. So many thesis students will be of interest to it. And it not only provides support for that, but they've been my main partner in supporting international students during COVID. So a lot of students weren't able to go home. Some students were home, were not able to come back. Some students were having financial difficulties. Some students were having mental health difficulties. Some students were having visa issues and questions. And the Professional Development Club basically set up a buddy system and a community so that everyone stayed in touch in the international community and looked after each other. And whenever there was any sort of an issue, they would either connect them with resources or connect them with me or Olga to help get their situation resolved. So that's good for the Professional Development Club. In terms of progress for thesis students, I think actually, Stefan, I'll wait till we get to the slide where it's a bit of a negative slide because it talks about how you get in trouble, but at that point, I'll talk more constructively and positively about progress for thesis students.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah. So we'll keep that in mind for later. Thanks, Phil, for those points. Sorry, guys. I think I clicked too many times. All right. Hope you're not too dizzy. Here we go. Important deadlines. I want to draw your attention to this link here. I think it's very important as students, as you start building your academic career here at the University of Ottawa, that you create a folder for UOttawa and that you start dropping in favorites and links. This should be on the top of that list. Definitely type this in and bookmark it, save it as a favorite. It's important that you consult this link to determine, to figure out, to see what is a deadline, what kind of deadlines are there. There are academic deadlines, there are administrative deadlines, there are deadlines for leave, for for the breaks, for reading week, and so on and so forth. I only listed a couple here to draw your attention and to make a point or to draw an example, but there are so many different deadlines that you need to be aware of. So do find time to add this as a favorite. September 22nd. Liam, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, perhaps I'm a bit premature, but this is the date at which the university will look at what non-thesis students are registered to. And it's whether or not you're registered to exactly 6 units of courses on this date that will determine whether or not you qualify for the $3,000 bursary for non-thesis students.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was going to be making that parallel. And let's just repeat that this applies to international students, full-time status, that have exactly 6 units once September 22nd hits. September 22nd is an important deadline because it's the last day for you to, I guess, quote unquote, shop for courses. So, I mean, you guys will start going to class virtually this week and again next week and so on and so forth. But in this week and next, maybe you decide that the selection you made is not, a good fit and you're looking to get into a different course. No problem. You are allowed to switch, make changes, add, drop courses, but you won't be able to add any courses after September 22nd. So your schedule after September 22nd will be static unless you drop a course. So September 22nd is key that way. You'll need to have made your final decisions. And this is the date where, for those who are admissible to the $3,000 bursary, this is where we take the snapshot of, do you have 6 units or not? November 20th, I'm going to come back to October 2nd, but to go off of this is the last day to add a course, this is the last day to drop a course without academic sanction. There could be financial ramifications, and there are different deadlines for that. I invite you to go to the link to find out what the deadlines will be for financial implications. But if you drop a course on or before November 20th, why would you do that? Maybe you got your midterm grades back and you're not where you thought or should be, and you're afraid that maybe you will fail the course. We'll talk about a passing grade soon. Then it's important that you keep in mind November 20th is a key date for which, if it's not going well in the course, you can still drop the course and not have an academic sanction. All right, so keep that in mind. And by going to this link, you'll learn more about key deadlines. Here's another example for you in the future. As your new students, you're not likely to be asking for a leave of absence or submitting a thesis in this term. But eventually, as you progress through your program, you may need to submit a leave of absence or you may need to submit a thesis. For the fall, for students who are returning to us, this would be a key date for them. So keep that in mind for the future for when you reach this point. These are only samples of deadlines. Of course, you always can ask your academic officer for such advice. Sometimes you may not even know to ask about a deadline, but you know that you need an answer to something, which may lead to the academic officer telling you, you need to know about this deadline, and they'll point it out to you. So that's why you need to keep that email address in mind, engineering.graduate@uottawa.ca. Also need to know that the University of Ottawa is in partner with Carleton University. For some of you, you may not know that the City of Ottawa has 2 universities in it, both the University of Ottawa and Carleton University. Some of you have come to learn this. Some of you are learning it now. Most of our programs, with some exception, are partner with Carleton in what we call a joint institute. And what you need to know is if you're part of a joint institute, it means that not only do you benefit from everything that the University of Ottawa has to offer you in your program, but you can also benefit from what Carleton has to offer in terms of courses as well. which means that when you pick your courses, your 3 units, your 6 units to complete your schedule, if you're part of a joint institute, you can also consider Carleton's course schedule, and we have equivalent U Ottawa course codes for them, and you can add them to your schedule. The point of this slide here is that once you know you can take courses at Carleton because you're part of a joint institute, I want you to know that you're bound always by Ottawa U deadlines. Now, the previous slide, we talked about important deadlines. In this slide, what I'm telling you is if you do end up taking a Carleton course, and by all means, feel free and do so, you're bound by Ottawa U's deadlines, not Carleton's deadlines. So for example, in my previous example, I was telling you that the add deadline is September 22nd. Carleton allows their students to continue taking adding courses up to September 23rd. If you're an Ottawa U student, on September 23rd, you won't be able to add a Carleton course. Why? Because you're an Ottawa U student and Ottawa's deadline is 22nd. So this is an example of you being bound by University of Ottawa's deadlines, not Carleton's. Here's another example where you Ottawa students have until November 20th if they need to abandon a course because, for example, it's not going well. For academic reasons, they decide they want to drop it and not suffer an F, for example. At Carleton, the Carleton students must make this decision by September 30th. If you're an Ottawa U student and you're taking a Carleton course, you don't need to worry about Carleton's deadline because you'll be registered through us in that Carleton course, and we will allow you to take action up to November 20th. So it's just a slight example to press on you that Ottawa U deadlines are your deadlines and not Carleton. Now, I know some of you may be going to ask questions about Carleton courses and how I go about registering to them. If I'm not in a joint institute program, for example, I'm a chemical engineer student and it's not a joint institute, can I take courses at Carleton? The answer is yes, you can, just by a slightly different process. Not as simple as if you were a member of a joint institute, but still doable. Do ask away in the Q&A. Some of the staff will be able to answer those questions with regards to registration to Carleton courses. Phil, just a little reminder, you can butt in at any point in time if you need to.
I haven't had any questions so far.
Well, hey, that's fine. We'll get there. Professor Payton, let's turn to you here on this negative slide, as you call it.
If you can skip forward 2 more slides and we'll come back to this one. One more. Yes, right, nope, the one before. Yeah, right there. So I'll speak to this slide in a second, but I want to answer the question from that Phil was saying from the thesis student asking about progress. And what I say may be slightly different than what your supervisors say, but you should listen to me. Because the most important person for your success at this university and the most important person for your success in your career when you graduate from this university is you. And you need to take responsibility, and you need to take responsibility for your schedule and for your good progress. Lots of people will help. Your supervisor is going to be very important to you, but you need to have your own schedule. If you're a thesis student, you should start getting involved in your professor's research today. In fact, if you're a good thesis student, you already got involved in your professor's research before today as part of your research as to whether or not this was going to be the right supervisor for you. So get involved in your supervisor's research. I say this because many supervisors will try to be nice and say, oh, don't worry about your thesis or research, just get your courses done first. Don't get your courses done first. Get your courses done, but start learning about your supervisor, start learning about your supervisor's research, and start working on research right away. Otherwise, you're not going to be making good progress. The PhD is supposed to be a 4-year degree. Most students, if they're on track, will complete their comprehensive exam before the end of the first year. If you wait for your supervisor, most of the time the exam won't happen before the end of the first year. You need to tell your supervisor you want to be a good student, you want to make good progress, and you want to work out a plan so that you can get your comprehensive exam defined, your committee identified, and your exam scheduled so that you can complete it before the end of your first year. If you haven't completed it after 2 years, you've made unsatisfactory progress. If you don't complete it the next semester, you've made unsatisfactory progress 2 semesters in a row, and you will be withdrawn from the program. You'll be kicked out of the program. There's a general rule in the Faculty of Engineering and at the university that during your graduate degree, you should not fail twice. So non-thesis students who don't have to worry about thesis, you do not want to fail 2 courses, because after you fail the second course, you will be withdrawn from the university. And that's where the deadline for withdrawing from a course is important, because if you're not confident you're doing well in the course, one of your options is to drop it, and then it doesn't appear on your transcript and doesn't count as one of your failures. PhD students making good progress should finish and successfully defend their thesis proposal by the end of their second year. Again, the only person that's going to care about your schedule and getting through on time is you. You need to communicate with your supervisor, help figure out what your thesis is you're going to propose, get their help writing it, figure out who's going to be on your committee, and schedule the defense. Now, we're a little bit more lenient with the thesis proposal. If you have not successfully defended your thesis proposal by the end of the 4th year, that's unsatisfactory progress. If you don't complete it by the next semester, that's 2 unsatisfactory progress, and you'll be withdrawn from the university. Master's students, it's a little less, the only thing that you need to get done is your thesis. But again, by the end of your first year, you should have your thesis topic, a proposal if it's required, done, and you should be well on your way to finishing your thesis if you're going to complete in 2 years. So that's good. If you go back one more slide, when I said that non-thesis students need to pass their courses, you might have thought that you needed to get 50%. Most programs, the minimum grade to pass a graduate course is 70% or B. Some of our programs, especially the interdisciplinary programs where you have to take courses from fields outside of your area of expertise, the passing grade is 66%. So make sure you know what program you are in, and make sure you know what your program requires you to get you to pass the course. Back one more slide. Thanks. One of the things that's going to be new for most of you, and I see it all the time, is understanding what intellectual property is, understanding what academic integrity is in terms of what's considered cheating and what's not, and understanding what plagiarism is. And in particular, most students do not understand just how seriously the academic community in this university takes those things. A violation of one of those things could have you fail your course outright. In fact, especially if it's a second offense, it could have you expelled from the university. Up in the top left-hand corner are 2 bureaucratic links that specify the official policy of the university. I don't want to have this slide to scare you. I want to have this slide to bring your attention to the fact that one of the key things that you really need to learn to be successful at this university is to understand what academic fraud is and what plagiarism is. In every single course you take, and in particular with your supervisor when you're writing papers or working on your comp exam or your thesis. So when you take a class, take responsibility for yourself. And if it's not clear after the first lecture, What plagiarism and academic fraud mean for your class? Ask the professor. Understand what the penalties will be, understand what he will allow you to do or not allow you to do when you're taking an exam or writing a paper. And in particular, there's lots of clinics and workshops that will help you with this, and it's really about academic writing and how to be a professional. So there's a link there. There's also an official U Ottawa guide. And at the Faculty of Engineering, you may have heard talk about how do we do proctoring during COVID and having surveillance videos. At the Faculty of Engineering, we are not interested in that. We recommend to our professors that no one should be using invasive surveillance techniques because we don't need them. At the Faculty of Engineering, we know how to use technology, and we have very sophisticated technology that can automatically process your answers and in a split second, see if you copied it from anywhere on the internet, or in a split second, see if your answers are the same as somebody else in the class. So these tools are being used to monitor and ensure that what you write and submit is done with academic integrity. But we're also being very transparent of what tools we're using. And there are often student versions of these tools, and you can have access to these tools to double check your work and to see how the tool is interpreting what you've done. So if anyone has any questions, because we keep dying for someone to be brave and to raise their hand and actually turn on their mic and so we can hear your voice. So please do ask questions. Or if you're shy, type your questions into the Q&A and our team will respond to you in the Q&A. So I think I talked enough. Let's pause for a second and check it.
We have our first question.
Excellent.
Kareem.
There.
Go ahead, Kareem.
Just trying to get mute, and Kareem is here. Hello, Kareem.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Perfect. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys for hosting this webinar. It's been really helpful so far.
Oh, Kareem,
Yeah.
be careful to speak directly into your microphone and speak a bit louder and a bit slower.
Can you guys hear me now?
That's better.
Perfect. First of all, I just want to say thank you very much for hosting this webinar. So far, it's been very helpful. I asked a question in the Q&A, but I just wanted to follow up. It was about courses. And I'm in the Masters of Engineering, Mechanical Engineering program. And it says on the list that not all courses are offered every semester. But I had put together a list of about 10 courses that I wanted to take to finish my Masters of Engineering. And what I saw is that at least 6 of them are not on the winter or fall term. And I was just wondering, how often do these courses come around?
So I have a couple of answers to your question. One is we do have more courses listed in our calendar that are offered every semester, and we try to clean that up. What happens is we're often adding new courses to stay current, and as we add new courses, the older courses are taught less often. But what I really strongly suggest you do is join the Professional Development Club, and I believe there's also a Chemical Engineering Student Association. And when students like yourself organize, and an official representative from like the Professional Development Club or the Chemical Engineering Student Association will have a good relationship with the program coordinator, and they can often advocate on behalf of the students to ask that certain courses be offered or get these questions answered, because the decision about what courses to offer each year is done by your program and your program coordinator. The other thing I'd like to point out to you though is, in addition to the chemical engineering programs, the courses, all non-thesis students can take up to 9 units or 3 courses of G&G courses. And often these courses are very strong complements to the core courses in your chemical engineering program. Some of them are quite technical with advanced mathematics or advanced tools. Others are very good at complementary skills, and others are good at professional development. So Although you may see not as many courses as you want under chemical engineering, you can advocate to get more offered. And there's also G&G courses that you can take. And I think Stefan wanted to step in with a comment.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to elaborate, Liam, because for students, they may not understand that acronym. So GNG stands for, general engineering course. It doesn't mean that it's not important like chemical or electrical, not at all. It's a category onto its own whereby it touches and crosses all engineering fields, and it's categorized under GNG. So if you search in the calendar and you look at the course offerings, just like you saw your CHG courses for chemical engineering, look for GNG courses and you will find a lot more options. Professor Hanan Anis earlier alluded to a couple of these courses with regards to entrepreneurship, for example, and things like that.
And I want to emphasize that all universities across North America are increasingly creating these types of courses because of the demand from industry. Industry has given us feedback that just having students take the core technical CHD courses is not enough. They need broader people that understand how to leverage data, who understand entrepreneurship, who understand design, and everything you saw at SEED, that's made available to you through G&G courses, two specifically that were designed for a graduate level. Does that answer your question, Kareem?
All right, well, I don't know if Kareem's still there, but if I had a virtual prize, I would give it to him for being brave to ask the first question. So I guess consider you receiving a virtual gift. What it is, I don't know, but it's on its way.
Do you have any other questions for us, Philippe?
No questions now, but I did bring Kareem back if you wanted to speak up.
Hi, Kareem. Did we answer your question? Did you have any follow-up?
I don't think he's with us, sorry.
No worries, no worries. We'll press on, and again, thank Kareem for breaking the ice, as they say. The next slide is with regards to Student Academic Success Services, the acronym right here, SASS. When I talked about web links and having bookmarks or favorites, here's maybe not the next one, but right at the top 5 list here. Sorry. Well, actually, I don't have the generic one for SAS, but I have multiple ones here.
Yeah,
I just added the generic one to the chat. I've been adding other links as well as we speak, so feel free to browse that.
Thanks. So yes, thanks, Phil. And the students should definitely be reading the Q&A. If they're not asking a question, they should be reading it, because students are asking wonderful questions, I'm sure. And I know my team is providing very, very good answers and very good insight as well. So the Student Academic Success Services offers many, many things to students, and they'll range from mental health to career counseling to academic support to mentoring and so on and so forth. How to prepare your thesis, maybe contact other students like yourself who are more senior that they can give you some advice and mentor you. Maybe you need accommodations in your program. Maybe there are difficult times ahead. Definitely these services are all there, they're all available, and they're all inclusive within your tuition fees. So take a minute, go on the SAS's website to discover what they can offer, and know to consult it in time of need. Professor Payton?
Yeah, and this is where I'd like to emphasize that many of you come to U Ottawa thinking that it's all about your courses and your thesis and completing your program. And that task of completing your courses and your thesis is something you need to do on your own. And that your success is dependent on you working hard and doing everything on your own. You need to unlearn that. It's not the way the world works. It's not the way successful people are. the most important thing you're going to get from your time at U Ottawa is all the connections you're going to make. Connections to people, connections to resources, and importantly, learning how to develop your network of connections, of people, and of resources, and of learning how to tap into the people you know and the resources you have and bring them to bear on a program, not by yourself, but by leveraging all the tools you have at hand. So the next bunch of slides, including the one on SAS that we've been going through, are critical for you, because when you joined U Ottawa, you didn't just get the right to take courses online. You've actually joined a 170-year-old institution with lots of resources. The seed facilities that Professor Hanan talked to you about, the student success services, and a whole bunch of things we're going to go through. Develop your network and explore everything University of Ottawa has to offer, and use it to your advantage to succeed, not only in your courses and your program, but in developing your skill set and your expertise so that you're going to succeed in your career when you graduate from here. So back to you, Stefan.
Wonderful. Check into this wonderful program that's available to you in line with what Professor Payton just said with regards to networking and socializing and branching out and getting a value-added degree, you know, not just the degree itself, but the connections that come with it. For our international students, most of you, well, you should all have been in contact already with the international office. The link is here. This is another favorite. Mark it down. Issues beyond just the academic life. They run so many different workshops, can answer many questions on immigration and visa. In fact, is Olga still on the line? If she is, I would definitely invite her to speak to you with regards to this slide. And she is just about to pop up. Hi, Olga.
Hi, Stefan. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm sorry for the light. It's not, yeah, it's a bit dark, but anyhow, yeah, definitely. So I just wanted to emphasize that if you have immigration-related question about your study permit, about your postgraduate work permit, about border state, the requirements on, you know, crossing borders, etc., quarantine arrangements, university, U Ottawa quarantine plans, etc., any immigration related questions, I just wanted to emphasize that for this type of questions, please contact and reach out to the international office. They do have workshops, they do have information sessions that are called SOS Immigration. I will share the link shortly in the chat. The closest session is on September 10th. I will also provide this information in the chat box. So if you do have immigration related questions, please reach out to them. It's just, you need to understand that immigration is very complex and every situation is very, very personal and very specific. So, and moreover, the regulations are changing very quickly. So they have certified and authorized immigration consultants, immigration advisors, who are authorized to provide this type of consultations to you. And they use various tools in communications. Like, as I mentioned, they can schedule a meeting with you personally, they can answer email, they organize information session on this matter. So, and they also have a team of international mentors as well. The faculty has our own faculty mentors, they have international mentors. And you can also reach out to me. I can put you in contact with an appropriate person or refer you to the appropriate resource. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Olga.
Thank you so much, Olga.
Are there any questions for us, Phil?
Yes, I have one question, but I'm not sure who this is, as their name is a number, but I'm sure they will identify themselves shortly.
Just turn their microphone on and they can speak up. That'll be fine.
Their microphone is on.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi, good evening.
good evening.
My name is Rasha. I'm a PhD student.
Yes.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Yeah, I have a question with Mrs. Olga now about the study permit. Is she online? Stay online now?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here, Rasha.
Yeah. Actually, my question is, I'm already communicate with the international office about my case. Like when I come here, I'm just joining my husband. He's a diplomat in Iraqi embassy here. So when I try to submit for teaching assistance to get more experience like the other students, they ask for like SIN number. So after that, or study permit, I'm trying to apply for it, but in case I can't get it, there is no other way to have teaching assistance like other students.
So I can answer that. Olga.
I was about to say that Liam is the best person to address this.
Olga will correct me if I get anything wrong on the legal aspect, but really what you're talking about is more of an academic aspect. So it's actually the case that under Canadian law, we can only hire someone to work if they're already in Canada. They have to be in Canada when they do the work. And so to be in Canada, you need a study permit. And with the study permit, you get a social insurance number, which is what every Canadian or every resident or every international student who comes here has in order to get paid. When you're working for your supervisor on what you might think of as a research assistantship, that contract is a bit different because we're able to position it as a bursary, so it's treated like a scholarship, and therefore they can put that money as a credit towards your student account so that it's credited against your tuition, and if there's any excess, you can get a refund. But we're not able to do it for teaching assistants. So it's actually the fact that none of the new students who are getting their study permits after March 18th right now are able to work as teaching assistants. We're negotiating with the government. We're trying hard to get them to let the students in and to make an arrangement. We've been having this discussion with them for a couple of months now, but the situation is right now that unfortunately, unless you have a social insurance number, now if you're—
Sorry. Yeah, but I'm already start on January for my first term. I finished my first term like before March.
Right, but then you must have had a study permit.
Okay.
Because you were in Canada, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Canada, yeah.
And you need to apply for a SIN number. It's not granted automatically to you.
So
yeah, actually, I try it online. Like I register for SIN number, and also I submit application for the study permit. Because, you know, like in my case, as we are diplomat, I don't know how to, there is no other case similar to mine. So I can compare what they have to do. So just I'm already apply for it and waiting for getting any email from them.
What I suggest is you might want to also check with your embassy. I suspect that because you were married to a diplomat, you might have been allowed to be in the country and be a student here without a study permit. And because of COVID, that's complicating life for you. Check with your embassy because they may be able to help you get a SIN number. The main thing is you need a SIN number. But I suggest that you stay in touch with Olga after this, and we'll work with you outside the session to help resolve it. It's not something we're going to be able to answer easily right now live. Is that okay?
Thank you so much for that. And hopefully if she mentioned again, like her email, if she's hearing me now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I will share it in the chat box.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
You know that at the grad office, we are tirelessly advocating on your behalf. and the university and all the universities in Canada are advocating on your behalf. And as soon as we make any, we expect it soon. So the government wants you here as well. They're just being very cautious and careful with COVID. We will eventually get these things all worked out together. In the meantime, I really appreciate the efforts you're making, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for those information. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
Wonderful.
So keep going, Stefan, and we'll check in with Phil again in a few minutes.
Wonderful. I will. So again, with regards to more help, more resources available to you on campus. I talked earlier with regards to SAS and the Career Development Center. So maybe not in the immediate, but eventually you're going to want to work on your CV. You're going to want to work on practicing interview skills or whatever that may be, or going to job fairs. So do look up the Career Development Center. Yes, Liam?
So I just wanted to say, the way I said to thesis students that they should be starting research right away.
Yeah.
Non-thesis students, professional program students, and probably thesis students, but especially professional program students, you should be working on your career now, because that will help you understand what courses you need to take. It'll understand, you'll also start understanding what you need in addition to your courses. So I really encourage all non-thesis students to start looking at their career counseling, job search tools, working on their resumes for their career after they graduate now. Because if you work on the resume you want to have after you graduate and the jobs you want to have after you graduate, that'll make sure you do the right things while you're here at the university.
Yes, I think I alluded to you may not be doing this at the beginning of your academic career.
That was the trigger for me.
Thanks for that. Yes, as you were saying it, I was listening to myself. I shouldn't be doing this or either, right? UOZone is another tool that you have been using and will continue to use. You accepted your offer, you registered to courses, you may be applying for some awards or paying your bills or changing passwords and whatnot, or applying for jobs on campus. So know about UOZone and use the links. Info service is, I guess, the university's version of a bank, if you will. They are the ones collecting the fees, invoicing you, producing student cards, providing all official documents, transcripts, and whatnot. So do go on this website to discover the services that they can offer you. Liam, I cue you in.
Yeah, so I'm going to repeat an answer to a question we had in this morning's session.
Oh, please. Yes.
Yeah. So info service keeps account of money. It's important to pay attention to it, but don't be too stressed. The university is patient and you will see charges appear and disappear. So for example, right now, all the non-thesis students are seeing a bill for full tuition, and they're probably wondering, when do they get the $3,000 bursary? And they're probably wondering if they have to pay the full tuition now. The answer is, if you know you're going to get the bursary, don't feel like you have to pay the whole thing now. Even if you're seeing late fees and stuff like that, eventually, sometime after September 22nd, the university will process your account and a credit for $3,000 will appear on your balance sheet and it'll get sorted out. Similarly, all of you, even though you're remote, are being charged for UHIP, which is the University Health Insurance Plan. This is because by law, the university has to make sure that your health insurance is covered while you're a student at the university. And so by default, everyone gets charged. If you know that you're going to stay in your home country for the entire semester, even if the borders open, there's a form you can get and you can apply for a UHIP refund. Or rather, in October, a form will be circulated and you can apply for a UHIP refund. So just wait, you'll see the opportunity and you can use the form to get the UHIP refunded. But just remember, once you have your study permit and the borders are open and you want to come to Canada, you need the UHIP in order to get into the country. So on a semester by semester basis, if you're sure you go, like, you may not be in Canada now, but if there's a possibility you might be here in November, you need to have the UHIP and have paid for it for the whole semester. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait until January to come when you're covered by your UHIP. And if you have any questions or about that, type in the Q&A or put your hand up. Go ahead, Stefan.
Well, actually, I was going to say, you know, I liked the way you talked about the library this morning and thought you would share that again.
Yeah, so you may think of a library as a boring old-fashioned thing where these old-fashioned things called books are stacked. And you might think, oh, you know, all social distance, I'm in a different country, I can't do anything with the library. No, the library is very modern. They have the latest tools for searching online, all the academic journals in the world, as well as other resources. They will introduce you to a tool called Mendeley or Zoto that can help you collect the references that you're going to need when you're writing papers. There's research guides for these programs, so go to that link. And if you're working on a project, if you're searching for something and you're not sure if you're searching properly, you can contact Evan. The library there is to help you be successful at doing your research, and they're on top of all the latest online tools that can support you.
While you're here, you're definitely going to probably or maybe want to work on your English or your French. Again, I'm assuming that many of our students, English for them is their second language. So definitely as part of your tuition, you are allowed to take English second language courses or French as a second language course. These courses, there is no academic bearing for these courses on your transcript. It's included in your tuition. You can sign up to these courses and get tested and continue to improve your levels of English or French, depending on your choice. And again, you definitely don't need to do this. You don't have to do this, but I would definitely recommend for those who English is their second language, for example, that you look into this this option and consider possibly testing and signing up to some classes. Professor Payton, I was expecting your finger.
Just one thing to add. Non-thesis students who need to register to exactly 6 units if they want the $3,000 bursary, if you take one of these courses, it does count towards your 6 units. So it's 6 units, whether it's required for your program or these courses. Similarly, some of you may have been admitted and required to take an additional course, maybe an undergraduate course to make up for a course you're missing. Again, any courses you take, whether they're undergraduate, second language courses, or regular courses in your program, count towards the 6 unit limit.
Important. I won't dive into this, as we did have the actual director of this program present to us earlier today. But we've also talked about the professional development program. Do you want to touch on this again, Liam, or press on?
I want to say that the Professional Development Club already has 300 or more members, and all of you are invited to join. And I'm in close partnership with them on many activities. And the executive all have my cell phone number. Join, and they will advocate on your behalf. Even more importantly, in addition to helping you succeed in your courses, they have mentors, or succeed in your careers. It creates a nice social network and community that has really worked well to support each other during COVID.
How much does it cost?
It costs nothing. It just costs the time it takes to click on one of those links and say, I want to join.
There you go. And connect and socialize and discover many key people that can help you along the way. And of course, I mean, there's many other ways to get involved, to get connected, albeit at this time virtual. But a lot of these clubs have adjusted, and you can participate and be involved virtually with them. Definitely look up the link to find out what's happening on campus. Get involved. It's more than just academics. There's all kinds of clubs, teams, and things. Yes?
I just want to emphasize, we've been constantly talking about virtual, recognizing that many of you are in another country and can't yet come to campus. But those of you who are already in Canada and already close to the university, many of these clubs and organizations, including SEED, are starting to do things in person, carefully in small groups with proper social distancing and protocols. But just so you know, campus is opening up, things are happening on campus. And I really want to encourage all international students to come here as soon as they can once the borders open. We're open, our research labs are all open. So thesis students, all the professors are back in their office, and we're carefully managing access to the research labs, but they're currently open at 90% capacity with special COVID protocols and special scheduling and contact tracing to make sure that everything is safe. So if you are already in Canada and on campus, there is things open, and we're starting to do things in person again. Carefully and safely, but it's happening.
In addition to having a faculty level advocacy, professional development group, there's also a university level advocacy office called the GSAD, or Graduate Student Association. They provide many services as listed here. Eventually, when we will use public transportation, Student Rights Center, so they can advocate on your behalf. They have many workshops as well. So this is definitely worth taking a couple of minutes to click on this website and discover the services that they offer you. As a student, you are a member automatically. And well, financial aid. Oh, this morning we ran out of time. I don't remember talking about this slide this morning. Financial aid and award office. There's a link here. Definitely for all students, and this again, this will speak more so to thesis-based students, PhD students, Masters of Applied students, or Masters of Computer Science students. Do look into all the possible financial aid and awards available to you for research. I see you, Liam, I'm coming to you. There are many things that will kick off, or are kicking off, or have kicked off already. August to November is application season for many of these scholarships, like OGS and NSERC and so on and so forth. Do take the time to find out, to discover what you are eligible for. Some of these are for Canadian students, some of these are for international students, some are for both, some are for PhD, some are for masters. There are various deadlines for them. They'll require you to fill out an online application most often. They'll ask you to provide probably reference letters, transcripts, and things like that. So do take the time to look at this website. Do bring in your academic officer in this conversation. They can point you in the right direction. They can speak more to the detail that these applications may be asking you. You may not quite understand. So you can definitely reference your grad coordinator as well. But mostly you should definitely be contacting your supervisor, who will be guiding you, leading you in this task. Liam, you had your finger up?
Yeah, so there's big programs that the grad office is familiar with, and supervisors are familiar with, and the academic coordinators are familiar with, that are geared towards supporting thesis students working with their supervisors. But another pitch for the Professional Development Club, I sat in on a session they gave, and they've done their homework, and apparently there's hundreds of scholarships and bursaries listed there. And they gave a good presentation on some of the smaller but still significant bursaries and grants and scholarships that were available for even international non-thesis students to apply for.
There you go. And the non-traditional routes, but you know, where you dig, you may find. Phil has popped up, so I'm assuming we've got another question.
We do have another question. I don't know if you want this to be our last one, but we do have one.
Go ahead, Phil. Phil, you with us?
Oh, maybe not. He did raise his hand, but we can't quite hear him.
That's no problem.
Mic is turned on. If you speak, we can answer your question.
Hello, Kareem?
Oh, it's Kareem.
Okay, well, we have another student, so we will move on. We have a question from Mohammed.
Hi, Mohammed.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening for all. Actually, it's morning here in Jordan, but still good. Yeah, thank you. Good morning, too. So I have many questions, actually. I don't know if the time is enough.
Well, go one at a time and we'll see how we do.
Okay, first one is, can we use the labs like for seeds or another labs for hardwares as we are computer science students, for example? Can we use it for our own projects or research to make a simulation or something like this?
Absolutely.
This is the first question. Do you want me to tell you all of them or as once or one by one?
Yeah, go next one if you were happy.
Okay, thank you. So I read something about the insurance that we need a second health insurance over the UHEP to make full coverage, maybe especially in our home country, you know.
Yes.
So yeah,
you should consult with the international office, and you should also consult with your own contacts in your home country. The UHEP provides the basic minimum coverage that everybody needs under Canadian law. There may be additional insurance you want to have depending on your situation and depending on the country you're from. So it's not that you need, the only insurance that you need for sure is the UHIP when you come to Canada. Mm-hmm. But if you're taking a look at the situation, you may want to consult with the international office and with your own experts in your own country to decide what you feel most comfortable with in terms of extra insurance. It just covers the basics.
Yeah, thank you. The third one is it's maybe personal.
Can I just, I'm sorry, can I just add on this matter regarding the UHIP? So yeah, because as Liam mentioned, as Professor Payton mentioned, UHIP provides minimum out of country for emergency medical expenses. So you are just strongly recommended to purchase additional private insurance to cover significant out of pocket expenses that might happen in your country. So this is just to say that if something happened in your country, UHIP will most probably not cover it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
And we also, I know that our student association, graduate student association, also provides their own insurance. So you might want to reach out to them and ask for more details about their type of insurance.
Yeah, and their insurance is intended to complement or add to what's covered by UHIP. It's not instead of UHIP, it's to in addition to UHIP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. So the third one is about a personal maybe issue. I made a service request and I've got the approval. It's about a course, a modification in a course. So it will start tomorrow, I guess. So I don't have that course in my Brightspace, so I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah, we had that question this morning.
Oh, sorry.
There's two reasons why it might not be in Brightspace. One might be that the professor isn't using Brightspace and he's supposed to be using his mailing list to communicate to students. And it's possible that you joined the mailing list late, so you didn't receive his first email that would have given you the link. Mm-hmm. The other possibility is that he is using Brightspace, and unfortunately, there's sometimes a 24-hour delay before you appear in Brightspace and the course appears on your Brightspace. So if it's been less than 24 hours, try again tomorrow morning. But sometimes we've been having a few technical glitches and Brightspace is not being kept in sync with the UOZone registration. What I suggest you do is try and track down the professor for the course. You can do this one of two ways. If you Google U Ottawa timetable, and I suspect that Phil will put the actual link for the U Ottawa timetable, you can search, be careful to set the semester to fall. Be careful to say that you want to look at closed courses as well as open courses. But if you type the course code there, you'll see the schedule and it should show you the professor for the course. And from there, you should be able to find his email to contact him. Or email engineering.grad. Make sure your program and student number and the course code are clear in the subject header, and your academic officer can try and connect you with the professor and get you connected with the course.
To be honest, they are supportive all the time, actually.
We've got a good crew, and don't panic. But don't be too patient. Be persistent, because you need to get connected with your course soon. But when we're having these glitches under COVID, we've told professors that they should make accommodation and help you integrate. So even if you miss the first class, don't give up. We'll get you connected.
Great, thank you. So in brief, can you add something about the UPass and the OSAP? In the case of the UPass, we will not get in Canada until like September 18th, or we will be late, so maybe we don't need to the UPass. So can we opt out?
Yes. So for many of these things, it's easier by default to have it in your fees, but there's a form you can fill out to opt out if you're not going to need a bus pass, as is, I'm sure, the case for many of you.
Yes, indeed. That's it. So just the first one, as using the labs for our own research or simulation, and that's it. And
yes.
Thank you for the answers in advance.
And I should emphasize with the labs, yes, you can have access, but under COVID, we're carefully managing who's coming when. So you will need to ask permission and give a justification for it, but it should be routine that it gets improved. It's just a matter of knowing who's going into the building when, so that we make sure the numbers are under control and we keep social distancing. And if you ever run into a glitch where something I said doesn't seem to work out, don't hesitate to reach out to Engineering Grad or even my email, although it's not the best way to go, and we'll help follow up and advocate on your behalf.
Thank you. And have a good night, all of you.
And you have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
So thanks for the question. Phil,
we actually have two more questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bring attention to the time. So Kareem has raised his hand again, so we'll see if he's able to talk this time.
What time is it right now, Phil?
It's 10:45.
Yeah, I'm good till 11.
Same.
And I don't want to impose on all the staff who are manning the Q&A and things like that. So anybody, student, staff, anyone that wants to drop off the call, you've done great work. Thank you very much. But I'll stay on for sure for another 50. Anyone who wants to stay on is welcome, and I'll stay on until 11 answering questions.
And I just want to remind, we will have a video recording of the session. So if you're logging off, you can always check in and see what we talked about at the end.
Yes, and as we said before, all the questions we got from this morning and this afternoon will be processed into an FAQ so that there's an official record that'll get sent out to you. So go ahead with the next question, Phil.
Yeah, so Kareem, are you able to speak? It seems like that's not working, I'm sorry. But we do have another question. This is from Morteza.
And Kareem, if you're having technical difficulties, just type your question in the Q&A. So go ahead, next person.
Kareem has done so. He has submitted a question in the Q&A.
Thank you, Veronique. Perfect.
So Morteza, you are unmuted.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. It's my pleasure to talk to you all, guys. I hope the quality of my voice is acceptable. I have one question if there is time for you.
Go right ahead. You sound great.
I took 2 courses this semester, for one of which I have received some emails in order to organize the course. I don't have any special question about it. But for another course which is held in Ottawa University, I didn't receive any email, and I don't know what should I do about this course. My main question is that should I do anything special or whatever I do, what should I do? And is there, do I need to send an email to any part of the university to organize and manage about this course?
Yeah, so the first question is, have you seen either of your courses listed on Brightspace? Do you know what Brightspace is?
I don't know.
Okay, so in your UO zone, you can see what courses you're registered to, but there's also,
yes.
There's also something called Virtual Campus, and I may not have this correct, but all our online courses are delivered through Brightspace. So in theory, both your courses should be appearing on your Brightspace. And if the course appears in Brightspace, the professor may not email you. You go into Brightspace and all the information is there to how to connect to your course. So what I suggest you do is first, see if you can go into UO Zone and learn about Brightspace. But if you're having difficulty, send an email to engineering.grad@uottawa.ca, and one of our academic officers will follow up with you. Make sure you have your program name and your student number there, and have a clear question that says, I'm unable to connect to course X, and they'll follow up with you. Véronique, I saw you were there. If you want to add anything more to what I said, please jump in.
Hi. Not all professors will be using Brightspace this term, so I recommend contacting the professor directly.
Yes, so Brightspace, contact the professor directly, but if you're stuck, email engineering.grad, and someone like Véronique, who's better than me, will fix you up and get you sorted out.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for your detailed answer. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Same.
Another question, Phil?
Yes, this question is actually from Kareem. He wanted to know about co-op programs. I'm assuming admission, perhaps kinds of placements, etc. I did share the co-op page on the chat, so students can find it there. I'll do it again shortly, but perhaps you wanted to share a couple words about that. There's no specific question, but that topic.
Some programs, not all, have official co-op programs. And those programs will be in contact with you. Off the top of my head, there's computer science, there's digital transformation, electrical engineering started their co-op program this year, mechanical engineering and advanced materials have co-op programs. The other programs do not have official co-op programs. But another plug for the Professional Development Club. One of the things the Professional Development Club has organized sessions to help students find projects and internships. And projects and internships can be unpaid and you can get course credit for them. We set up a system for that. But you can also have a paid internship. As students on a student visa, you won't be able to do a paid internship until you come to Canada and you have your social insurance number, like I was talking about with the PhD student about teaching assistantships. But you can do an unpaid internship or project while you're remote. Why would you do it unpaid? Because it's not about the money, it's about your education and it's developing your contacts and careers. It's a great way to develop skills and apply what you've been learning in courses. But if you're already in Canada or once you come to Canada, even if your program doesn't have a co-op program, we can work with you, or rather through the Professional Development Club and the Career Center, you can find your own internship and your own opportunity. And if you're an international student, wait for it, you can get a co-op visa in order to work full-time and get paid during your internship, even though it's not officially a co-op program. The reason we can do that is that the Faculty of Engineering, although only some of our programs have an official co-op program, all of our programs are officially registered with the Canadian government as a recognized internship program, which means we've told the government that getting practical experience on the job is an important part of your degree, and we can give you course credit for it. And therefore, if you reach the point where you want a co-op visa so that you can get permission to work full-time and take a semester off school, the graduate office can provide a letter of support that confirms that your program is eligible for this. So if you have any interest about that, follow up with the Professional Development Club or put a question in the Q&A and we'll follow up with you afterwards. Any other questions, Bill?
Ashley, one more just popped up as you said that from Mohammed.
Hi, Mohammed.
Hi again. Sorry, after the
yeah.
So the first question is actually, Dr. Payton, you have just answered it. It's about the co-op for a PhD. And the second thing is not a question, is a hint. So I think
I did not answer co-op for PhD, so let me give you a quick answer and I'll let you ask your other question.
Yeah, please.
Thesis students can do an internship. Thesis students at the PhD level never do an official co-op. There is no co-op for PhD. And then for thesis students at the master's level, there's not supposed to be a co-op for master's students, but if you get permission from your supervisor, you could apply for it, but it's not recommended. As thesis students, you should be focusing on your thesis. However, many of our professors, actually all of them, have collaborations with industry and like to work with industry on projects of interest to industry. And so while you're working on your thesis, you can get a research internship, which does not require a co-op visa. And you can spend time at a company and get paid by a company. But the reason it's not co-op is the company will actually pay the money to the university and it will be part of the support that your supervisor gives you. So if you're a PhD thesis student or a master's thesis student, and you're interested about industry internships while you do your research, talk to your supervisor. So go ahead, Mohammed, and ask your other questions.
Sounds great, thank you. The second one is it's not a question, it's a hint. Actually, I think we need all to know about the bright space, but there's nothing to tell us about it. You know, I just discovered by my own. There's no like promotion or something related. So I think most of the international students, maybe they don't have a lot of, you know, knowledge about the bright space. That's it.
Mohammed, you've made my day. I love volunteers. So this is what I do with my students in my research groups. This is what I do with the Professional Development Club. You've stumbled around and figured out Brightspace, and you realize that we have poor documentation to help students. Yes. I want to emphasize again, all students, if you join the Professional Development Club, simply to post a help message in the Facebook because you're having trouble with Brightspace or you don't know how to get Brightspace to work, the Professional Development Club would provide students to help out. But even better, Mohammed, would be if you connected with me after this meeting or with the Professional Development Club and you volunteered to help coordinate, create a document that would help students. If you provide us with that document, we'll be happy to distribute it for you because you're right, we don't have enough information on Brightspace, or rather we haven't done a good job of disseminating it.
Okay, I will. This is an honor actually.
Thank you very much. And if you're having trouble reaching me, email engineering.grad and explain that you're the student that I talked to on the call, and I'm not replying to your emails because I have too many emails, and someone on the staff will call me on my cell phone to make sure that I reply to you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, see what happens when you volunteer? This is good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir.
So we have another brave volunteer for the question.
There we go, another volunteer. Excellent.
Yes, this is Raouf Bouraoui.
How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Thanks a lot for hosting this webinar. I just have one quick question. I joined the course at Carlton Table to see the schedule or the timing. should I contact engineering.grad or I should contact Carleton University?
What program are you in?
Biomedical engineering.
Yes, so Google OCI BME, I think, which is the Ottawa Carleton Institute for Biomedical Engineering. Usually the institutes have their own webpage where they list the schedule of courses that are offered this semester. If you can't find that page to see the courses listed, then yes, send a message to engineering.grad with your program name, your student number, and Muriel Brazeau, who's the academic officer, will get you connected with the list of courses from Carleton. Stefan wants to say something.
I know for a fact that that Joint Institute has not been maintaining that web page or keeping it up to date as much as they should. So definitely by sending your email to engineering.grad to the attention of Muriel Brazeau, we will get it to her attention. She will communicate with you. She'll share that information, those links. She's got access to that information. That website has not been maintained and they need to be doing a better job. But Muriel will be able to give you that advice, that information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are we doing, Phil?
That was all of our questions, and I think we've got 3 minutes to spare before 11.
Oh, there we go. That'll give me and Stefan time to say thank you to all the students. Keep sending your questions to engineering.grad. Welcome to you, Ottawa. We're really excited about having you join us online and eventually in person. We'll do everything we can to support you. And Stefan will go through in detail, but I really, really want to thank all the staff who are working a long day, throwing in some overtime. That Stefan will reimburse you appropriately. He promised me you would. But no, seriously, thank you very much for everyone that's on the call. I really appreciate it. It's part of what makes the Ottawa community so great.
Absolutely. So you basically stole my thunder there, Liam. Thanks to Phil and to Veronique and to Chase and to Lorena and to Olga. Geez, I hope I didn't forget anybody. Hey, even Andrew for facilitating.
And
for yourself, Professor Payton, and for myself, we wish you all the best. We wish you a great academic session. Thanks for choosing University of Ottawa. Be proud. We got well over 8,000 applications, and you are a small number that were able to get selected and be admitted. We know you will be proud and you'll do us proud. So we wish you all the best.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night or a good day, depending where you are in the world.
Absolutely. Good night.
Good night.